Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z.
Hello again, it's me, the Ecron writer here. Welcome you to another OBS project. And this one happens to be a very unique one at that. You're probably wondering, what does Dragon Ball Z have to do with... What does this project have to do with the song I just played? Well, this all takes place a little bit before I started high school. And I just did a crossover with Dragon Ball Z with the PS2 game, The Bouncer. Yeah, very unique. This all happened before I started high school during my freshman year when I happened to get a PS2 and a handful of games, and one of them in particular was The Bouncer that got me enamored with the PS2. So, not many people know about what the game is. It's just a beat 'em up game made by Squaresoft and Dreamscape. And man, it was just like a breath of fresh air from the usual Final Fantasy. Especially 7. Oy, very overrated. So, let me just get this thing going. This is a very unique crossover. So, here is the prologue. I don't own Dragon Ball Z or The Bouncer. They belong to Funimation and Square Enix, respectively. I just happen to be a big fan. I'm a huge fan of the Bouncer game, no doubt. Anyone remember the underrated beat 'em up game for the PS2 back in the early 2000s known as the Bouncer? Well, this is my first fic for these. This was a crossover story I came up with since before I started high school. I had a lot of great memories with those. Anyway, here's a story that centers on my OC Ayame. She's a Z fighter and is on a quest to reunite the 7 Dragon Balls, and one of them leads her to the dangerous crime-ridden city known as Edge. Also, little did I know that Goku trained with Oob for a full year. Either way, I disregard it. Besides, he wasn't good in GT anyways, so it was all for naught. Like I said, it's been disregarded. This is an unlikely choice, but I hope you'll like this one. Let's get our fists rolling. Alright, let's start with the prologue. I actually did a Tetralogy, but I'll explain that later. It's been a few weeks after the 26th martial arts tournament. Oob was introduced into the world as a better half of Kid Buu, Vegeta was reunited with his family, and as usual, Bulma was making last-minute repairs on the Dragon Ball radar. She was inside Goku's house deep within Mount Pazo, and Goten and Trunks were wrestling happily in the fields, while Goku and Gohan were having a serious chat with Ayame. And this is my OC, this is how I described her. She's tomboyish, just like me. And she's wearing the Dragon Ball shirt and all that, blah blah blah. You don't have to read this. A little white device in her right ear, which was used to translate various languages. She was a young sea fighter who became interested in her idol just before he was attacked by his eldest brother Raditz. Same thing with me. Recently, she reconciled with Goku from his constant disappearances and all the trouble he made by letting his arch-rival Vegeta get the best of him. I hated that in the Buu saga. In fact, I consider it the worst. Her friends decided to give her a task to let her carry on by herself. By the time Bulma was finished making adjustments, she gave her a cap, a top, and some pants with silver, green, black, and brown markings on them. Okay, Ayame, here you go. She plopped it in her hands. What's this? This is a camouflage outfit. I'm giving you this so you can stay out of trouble while you search for the last Dragon Ball. According to the schematics, it's located a few thousand miles south from here. Specifically, at the busy city known as Edge, particularly in Dog Street. Dog Street? I've never heard of that location before. Neither have we. This is the first time a Dragon Ball has ever landed here. It's not necessarily a place for dogs. I hear it has a very high crime rate and a low economy. So you best be careful to what's out there. That's why I gave you this outfit. Put it on. Ayami hesitantly did. It was a bit snug around her body, though it was lighter than her usual clothing. As she left the bathroom, she asked, Well, what do you think? Everyone muttered she looked pretty good. That outfit suits you well. Yeah, you look just like a soldier. Thanks. Then the noble Saiyan gave her the extending power pole, the sacred weapon he used to have when he was just a kid. Bulma couldn't help but blush when he held it. It brought back so many memories since the two first met on the same mission. He also gave her permission to use the flying Nimbus for transportation. Ayumi accepted, and the feeling of deja vu was so intense in here. Just remember everything we taught you. You should make it out all right. Of course. I want you to be very careful at that place. There are street gangs and crooks all around. I'm always worried as the money keeps drying up for any judicial support, Bulma warned as she handed her the indicator. It was on full power and the ball was stagnant. Everyone wished her luck as she headed outside to the balmy air. It was sunset and the two kids stopped playing as they noticed Ayame exiting. Good luck on hunting for the Dragon Ball! Yeah, if you need us, we'll be there to kick some butt. She hesitated, took a deep sigh. Flying Nimbus! Clearly this was her first time, and she was nervous since she may not ride it. Only those with a pure heart can use the small yellow mobile cloud. It arrived in a matter of seconds, and Ayame was able to stand on it without falling. It was pretty spongy, making her wobble a little. With salute and a final farewell, it took her where she needed to go. She hoped with all her home skills, things won't take a turn for the worse. It was only one Dragon Ball, right? A couple hours had passed by the time Ayami reached her destination. It was already nightfall and she was just mere feet away from the spot in her locator. At first it was still, but now it was on the move. The Dragon Ball was going to be a little harder to spot on this crazy street. The numerous roofs would make it difficult to find it, so she stepped off the Nimbus and it flew away, leaving a temporary thin yellow streak in its wake. She peeked from the side of a tall brick building and headed toward the blinking light, lowering the beeping noise so onlookers wouldn't notice her. The dot blinked more rapidly, indicating she was getting warmer. Then, at the sight of her eyes, she saw a woman on her laptop through a window. She was a brunette wearing a long white bathrobe, and she was typing vigorously as she was watching a news flash. And this is actually the first cutscene of the bouncer, as you would see. So, hold on, let me just get this thing going here. So, here goes. Oops. Alright.
our top story. Mikado, the company heading the International Space Project, announced the launch of an additional solar power generator satellite. The announcement comes as a surprise to many. So what exactly is a solar power generator satellite? Well, we've prepared some diagrams, so let's take a look.
First, an Earth-based station transmits a guidance signal. Upon receiving the signal, the satellite uses a large mirror to generate electricity from solar power. The electricity is then converted to microwave radiation and sent down to the ground station. The ground station then converts the microwave radiation back to electricity, which can then be used for general purposes.
The question is, do we need such a costly energy program during this time of recession? And how will people be affected by the large amounts of microwave radiation radiated on Earth? While the Mikado Corporation is in charge of a major nationally funded public project, no details about the launch have thus far been revealed. We will keep a close eye on this story.
Damn it, they beat us to it?
Alright, so there you have it, guys. The prologue. Yeah. Alright, hold on just a minute. No. I'm still gotta get used to this thing. Not very good when it uses internet view. When you try to view videos. I'm not used to this. Alright, so where were we? Here we are. So there's the man with a strange complexion, blah blah blah. There's the data. What a coincidence, IMA is 15 too. So, there you have it. IMA ducked behind the bushes just seconds before she barely had the chance to see her. Catching her breath, she thought, target? Could it be the one carrying the Dragon Ball? Without wasting any time, she looked at the radar once more and followed the moving spot. As she did, she noticed a chopper overhead. She could hardly hear the pilot. Ayame didn't care about the mysterious men covered in black rubber suits, or the devastation they caused to the nearby house, or when they were leaping from rooftop to rooftop like tree frogs. She just kept chasing after the Dragon Ball until she grinded to a halt. She was shocked at what she saw. That's the girl on the computer! And she has the Dragon Ball! Ayame recognized her. Dominique was running. Indeed, she had the Dragon Ball on her. She looked as pale and thin as Ayame, and the Dragon Ball was inside one of her coat pockets. Earlier, Goku gave Ayame his 4-star ball, just in case she needs it for proof. Whenever she gets close to it, the balls illuminate when they were put together. Sure enough, it was to that particular bar. Ayame sighed in irritation. Bars were never good to hang around in, and they always ask for trouble and drinking and brawls. She always despised them, and she wishes she would never drink when she grows older. The neon sign on the roof showed fate. She saw a bulky man with... You know what? I'm gonna let the cutscene do all the talking. I should warn you, it gets a little long. Hopefully the internet will cooperate. I doubt it. So here goes.
We arrived at the target coordinates. Deploying assault unit.
with a sour face. You're scaring away the customers.
Sorry. Just doing my job.
Yeah.
Sure is weird weather for spring.
Alright, before I get to the next cutscene, I'm just gonna reveal more of the story, so here goes. Alright. Because this takes place in Ayame's perspective, so it just switches. Ayame had a brief uneasy feeling. With her enhanced skills from the Z-Fighter, she was able to sense people invading her space. These men she felt were definitely up to no good. She tried to remain calm as she reminded herself all she has to do is get the ball and get out. Hurriedly, she went to the rear and climbed on top of the closed garbage disposal and looked through a tall, glossy window. Ayame saw Dominique as she entered the stingy, overcrowded place. A jukebox at the top floor was playing some kind of blues tune with an old piano. A plethora of ancient dusty pictures and various alcoholic companies and neon signs were hung up. So much for localization. So, here it is again. Ugh, I'm not used to this.
Hi, boss.
Hey, Dominique, he's been waiting for you. Hurry up.
You're looking busy, Cole.
Hey, if we're not doing anything, it means the bar's doing just fine, right, Sion?
Good morning.
Hey, where were you? You're late.
Well, Hey, Sion, when's your birthday?
Birthday? Why?
Sion, it's your shift.
Yeah, I know. Come to think of it was exactly 1 year ago today you first came to this bar and started that giant brawl fest.
Then that means today's your first anniversary as a bouncer. Here, I got this for you.
What's this?
A present.
What the?
Dominique!
Alright. Actually, the battle scene's not going to be easy to describe. As you can already tell, I'm not really good at these things. And besides, kind of messed up on the cutscene. Sion was supposed to say whatever after the fight, which Ayame didn't get involved with. While the bartender was evacuating Sion immediately came to her defense as he raised an arm. Get back, Dominique! They're Mikado Special Forces. They're making their move. Alright, while the bartender was evacuating the civilians, Ayame hid herself inside the dumpster as the three men fought them off. Dominique just stood there, frozen like a statue. There were five of them in all against their three bouncers. So Sion teamed up with Ko as they fought two of them as Volt dealt with one. The rest of them leapt off to the ground floor. Volt's strong build made it easy for him, however his weight made him move a bit sluggish. Sion and Ko were much quicker and had less stamina than him. Sion was like a street fighter, using nimble kicks and punches to knock them to the floor. Ko specialized in Taekwondo as he kept using his legs to sweep them, and Volt was much like a wrestler, probably a mix between Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker. Okay, I'm doing my best with the references here, okay? I'm not into wrestling. Eventually, they met the remaining two foes, but their mobility allowed them to go higher and faster, confusing the trio. Then a distinctive figure with spiky hair sticking out from his red goggles. Like I said, I'll let the cutscene do all the talking. So, here we go again. They lost the Dragon Ball! Here we go with the switching again. So, this isn't good. They weren't after me. Alright. As everything grew silent, they saw the damage, and Dominique was gone. In anger, onto Ayame, so was the Dragon Ball. She tried to emerge, but the lid was frozen shut. Come here! She could almost make out what the trio were saying thanks to the broken window. And I'll let the cutscene do all the talking again. Not easy to switch in between these things.
Who are they?
They were from Mikado.
Huh, you're awfully well informed. Let's go to Mikado.
Whoa, hang on. I've got connections. Let me look into it first. I need you to check on something for me. Yeah, I need to get into Mikado fast. Look, I'm in a hurry. Yeah, thanks. Great, what time? Gotcha, we're taking off now. Thanks, I owe you one. There's a special train at the central station that's headed for Mikado. When? In half an hour.
Let's go then, we don't have much time.
Looks like he's got a heart after all, especially when it comes to her.
No kidding.
And that takes care of the prologue scenes. But I'm going to show you a bonus scene later on. So, yeah, you heard all this. Meanwhile, Ayame decided to use her extra strength to lift off the lid, but instead, it toppled and laid on its left side. The top swung open upon impact, and Ayame crawled out slowly as she was coughing from the intense odor. Brisk air helped a little, yet her nostrils were burning. Ew! I can't believe this has happened to me! She brushed off her uniform and looked at the radar, still intact. Claire extended her lungs. Renewed, she was more devoted than ever. I have to get that Dragon Ball and save that girl if I have to. She scraped her sneakers on the pavement, removing any excess filth. I have to be careful so those bouncers won't notice me. I don't want them involved in this. and I can't get in their way. I don't even know these guys. Shook her head to clear the cobwebs. No matter. Bulma wants me to get that Dragon Ball, and that's what I'll do. She donned on her cap and she ran out of the alleyway, following the locator and where she needs to go next. The story had a couple working titles, such as Dragon Ball Bouncer and The Hunt for the Damsel and the Dragon Ball. Lame titles. Eventually, after several years, I finally came up with a more decent name, the Mikado Saga. Eventually, you'll see why soon enough. Believe it or not, it's been 15 years since I wrote this, but it's actually like 18 years now. Wow, almost 20 years. It's a very nostalgic favorite of mine. Yes, it is kind of flawed because of obvious reasons, like awkward camera angles, no response time, clunky controls, and the infamous escort mission coming up. Little spoilers there. Nevertheless, I consider it a classic, and it was a breakthrough for the PS2's aesthetics. This was actually a tech demo made way back, and the short cutscenes were made for like Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts. But originally the bouncer was supposed to be Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, Sion with Sora. I hate that. They're not related, guys. They're not related. By the way, the name Ayame is a Japanese name meaning iris. Also, I always loved Sion Barzad, even though he has a close resemblance to Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Aside from that, this is where the fun begins, as he goes on a salvage mission to rescue Dominique, while Ayame has her own searching for her with the missing Dragon Ball in her possession. I hope the first chapter will be up shortly. Until then, Ikron Writer out. So that's it, guys. And this is the Mikado Saga. This is like the Bouncer Tetralogy menu select. I wish it could work like the regular menu select. But yeah, I'm doing the first story arc, the Mikado Saga. Whoops. Yeah. Still trying to get used to this program, my bad. And I'm starting with the first story arc, the Mikado Saga. And yeah, this was like a guilty pleasure of mine, the Bouncer. It was a huge part of my showitis for like a couple of years. So, until we meet again, guys. And I leave you with Sion Barzad's theme, my favorite Bouncer.